Okay, this section is going to be on law and on politics because they're short sections. So beginning with law, page 88 of the first edition, quote, "If someone has a right, someone else has an obligation." So this is very important. It's very important, first of all, to know that there's a distinction in rights. There is positive rights and there are negative rights. Positive rights means you have a claim to someone or to some material thing. A negative right means that you are to be protected against something. So a negative right could be free speech. You are protected from not being able to say whatever you want or to write whatever you want. Or a negative right could be protection from the use of force by other individuals. A positive right could be, I have a right to an education, which means that you have a right, or which means you have a right to claim on a teacher to teach you certain things, or or you can do it collectively. You can say that I have a right, I can put an obligation on my government to provide my kids with education, right? So in any case, you are obligating someone else to serve you. That's a positive right. And so what he's saying here is exactly that. If someone has a right, someone else has an obligation. And that's very important to realize, especially for those who advocate a lot of positive rights. Free healthcare, free education, free, I don't know, maybe the next thing they want is movie tickets, train rides, it could go on forever. And eventually everything's free, and then everyone is destitute in poverty. So, because everyone works for government. And that's been tried in history. On the same page, quote, "rights," in little quotation marks, as the term is used ideologically, are ultimately assertions of arbitrary authority by third parties to prescribe what others have never agreed to. So I think what he's talking about here is that special interest groups will lobby for rights, things like that. And you have to realize that these lobby groups are not a populace. They are not everyone. They are a special interest group that has some people behind them, but they seek to change everyone's lives. So in a sense, they are also central planners. Page 96, first edition. Quote, "The life of the law has not been logic. It has been experience." Now this quote is actually taken from Oliver Wendell Holmes, Jr., from The Common Law, which is a book. Oliver Wendell Holmes, I believe, was a judge. And I think there's a bit of a context here in the book. I think he was talking about judges. There's this concept of there's a concept that is about law is, it's not intended to be used absolutely or without any fine print, or there's a phrase for that though, the something of the law, meaning that judges can kind of alter the law a little bit depending on the circumstances. And so that's Sowell's point. The law has never been set in stone. You murder someone or you steal something, this is your punishment, done. The law has not been that way. It has been by experience, meaning that a judge can alter the sentence based on the circumstances. Okay, that is the end of the law sections. This will be the politics section, which is just a short 2 quotes here. So this is page 97 from the first edition. So, quote, "The left seldom has any explicit principle by which the boundaries between government and individual decision-making can be determined, so that the natural tendency over time is for the scope of government decision-making to expand, as more and more decisions are taken successfully from private hands." I don't think that can be disputed. More socialist kinds of people want more decision-making in government hands. They believe that the solution to all social problems is another law, is more government, expansion of government, something like that. And if you think about it logically, where does that end up? Eventually the government rules everything. So I don't see how you can defer from that. Final quote for politics, same page. Quote, the Democratic left has widely used in a positive sense such terms as the people, the workers, and the masses. These are the ostensible beneficiaries of their policies, but not autonomous decision makers. So again, I remember he talked about earlier about making individuals into abstractions. So all these terms, the people, the workers, the masses, are collective identities. They do not exist. They are concepts, and thus you can substitute your agenda or your position on an issue and say that the people are behind me or the masses are behind me. But they don't exist. Only individuals exist, and all those individuals are unlikely to agree with that policy. And if it was put to a vote, they would then have autonomy, and they likely wouldn't support it. So that is the end of the politics section.